The Calgary Flames were one of the most active teams at the 2024 NHL Draft. Jess Belmosto of Locked On Flames joins us to talk about what they accomplished and what to expect from Calgary in free agency next on the Locked On NHL Podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here, and welcome everybody to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting the way we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. It is great to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Flames, Jess Belmosto. And Jess, your team was very busy over the weekend at the NHL Draft. 2 picks in the first round, multiple picks in a few other rounds. How do you feel overall about this weekend?
I think that this is a whole new era for the Flames. I mean, last season, Craig Conroy came in and had previous messes to clean up. And this year, at the draft, he kind of hit it out of the park. I think that rather than sticking with, oh, this guy's big, he actually went for need rather than just like attributes. And it's nice to kind of see them actually nail not just 1 or 2 draft picks, but basically everyone.
Which pick impressed you the most? Which are you most happy with?
I really like Zyne Perekh and Andrew Basha. I think that grabbing a defenseman was incredibly important, especially someone as highly touted as Perekh. So like good stuff there. He has room to grow and just really need to replenish the cabinet there through the pipeline on the blue line. And then Basha's a Calgary kid, so you don't have to worry about him wanting to be closer to home, which is really great here for the Flames. But it just overall, I'm really happy with all the talent and the ceilings of these kids.
So what does this draft say about the direction of this team going forward?
It's looking more like a rebuild rather than a retool. I think that they tried to get away with using retooling to kind of keep fans involved and not scare them off with that big scary word. But then you trade off Jacob Markstrom and you got to start looking at things a little bit differently. And I certainly did not expect the reception to be as positive as it is. I think the Flames fans are ready for good hockey again, and like sustainably long good hockey.
You mentioned the departure of Jacob Markstrom. Talk to me about the goaltending situation as it stands now, and what do you think the Flames will do between now and the start of training camp?
So Dan Vladar actually had season-ending surgery in March. So Dustin Wolf was able to finish the season up with the NHL. And last update we got a few weeks ago, he seems to be on track to start the season. And obviously this is a big deal because with that vacancy, Dustin Wolf finally gets a true consistent shot at the NHL. And that's what fans have been clamoring for the last 2 years or so. So it's nice to be at that point. Conroy said that he does expect to bring in a third goaltender. And I mean, that would make a lot of sense. Neither Vladar or Wolf have more like the workload experience of a starter. And it's funny because last year they were very against carrying 3 goaltenders, but now they're welcoming the idea.
And you think they'll keep all three at the NHL level to start the season, or will one of them start in the A?
Part of me thinks that they might start Vladar on a conditioning stint down there. But I mean, at the same time, they could throw Wolf back down there to get his momentum going and get him comfortable. It's really a toss-up. I guess it'll depend on where Vladar is in terms of his rehab and his off-season training.
So free agency gets underway Monday at noon Eastern time. How do you expect the Flames to approach free agency, and what are they looking for, if anything?
Yeah, so I think the Flames, they definitely have some spots that they could fill internally or go the free agent route. I think obviously with losing Mangiapane, you have to find another winger. And while they do have that within the organization, I wouldn't be opposed to them going out and grabbing someone like Jake DeBrusk. I think that his time in Boston has come to an end, and it's an Alberta boy from Edmonton, obviously. But I think, it just makes sense to me. But Craig Conroy also made it clear that they're not doing long-term deals. 4 years basically sounds like the cutoff. They're not interested in 5 to 7 year deals. And they're willing to take on bad contracts, which that's how you know you're in a rebuild. You're willing to help a team out, maybe launder some money legally, of course. But I think that there's supposedly a reunion happening in the works potentially. So we'll have to wait and see who that is.
Okay, what is the rumor? Who is the rumored returnee?
We're hearing Mark Giordano. He still thinks he has another year or two left in the tank. I mean, former Flames captain. I wouldn't hate that at all. I think that obviously the Flames, they need people on the blue line. It's kind of a disaster. So that would be a good addition. I've heard rumors of maybe Sean Monahan and TJ Brody, but I really don't think it's going to be TJ Brody.
And as far as the Flames are concerned, how much cap space are they working with right now?
Just around $29 million. So Craig Conroy has a lot of money to play with, and that's kind of scary. But based on how he went about trading those pending UFAs, how he's handled trading Markstrom and Mangiapane and nailing the draft, I think myself and other Flames fans have more confidence in how he proceeds and how he approaches really this whole project.
And is it possible, considering that there's a 4-year contract limit, that a trade would be a more likely option than free agency for some of these players?
I definitely think so. I don't necessarily think they're just putting all their eggs in the free agency basket. And at the end of the season, Craig Conroy kind of made it clear that, hey, we used to be able to get guys to come here in free agency. We're going to have to go about it a different way now. And that's good, because clearly the past wasn't working to the extent that we'd all like to see. So it's nice to see a philosophical change and actually have actions behind those words.
All right. Well, Jess, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
Yes. So you can find Locked On Flames wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube, just search Locked On Flames, and you can follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you're calling it, just at Jess Belmosto.
All right, Jess, I know you'll cover the Flames every step of the way this offseason. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Gil.
Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Check out the odds on your favorite baseball team. Maybe take a look at some football futures, or use your knowledge of hockey to find some great bets on FanDuel. Head on over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.